And for $15,000 anywhere else, I would expect a delightful experience and at least a bottle of sparkling water. Greetings, Luxe lovers. Welcome or welcome back. Here we appreciate luxury through the lens of practicality, so if that sounds good to you, please consider subscribing and stay a while. I want to be transparent with you about my purchasing decisions, and this includes sharing the good and the bad. One of my very first YouTube videos was about helping me choose a diamond bangle here, where I took you on my quest to find the perfect diamond bangle to help celebrate my 40th. I searched high and low to find the perfect one, and in the end, I chose the Roberto coin Love in Verona diamond flower bangle, which I thought was the most beautiful at the time. That plus the fact that the department store SA that I worked with called me and said there was a 20% off sale on all Roberto coin, I was sold. So in mid-January, I put in a special order for the bangle to be made in my size, which is about 6.5 inches versus the 7-inch size that they had in stock. But I had to pay the deposit in full, which was really hefty. Even with the discount, it was around $15,000, which is a lot to tie up. Then with the passage of time, I purchased my Hermes watch and my in the loop bag. I really was treating myself well, and I was starting to have second thoughts about my bangle purchase. Fast forward to this week, when I got the call from my SA that my special order had arrived from Italy. Now I should have felt joy and elation, but I felt dread and I didn't even go to the store that day. I went in the next day and the SA I worked with wasn't even there. So in a way, it was a good thing because it took the pressure off of me to have to close the sale, and I could really evaluate whether or not I wanted to keep this item. I'll insert some video here of me trying it on in store. It was an absolutely beautiful piece, but it just didn't spark joy. I just thought about getting my money back and applying it to other things like my Hermes special order, and inside I felt like that would kind of lighten the load. I took it home, but I only did so because I knew that the store had a very generous return policy of a 90-day window from pickup. So I went home, showed it to my hubby, got his thoughts, and I had time to logically think through and evaluate the purchase. So I'll share with you my internal checklist that I usually run through when evaluating making large purchases, and how this bracelet stacked up, pun intended. Number one, I always think about how I would use each piece, ideally somewhere in my daily life if possible. I really wanted this bangle to be a daily piece, but the pave nature of the bangle was just way too fiery, and it would just be a much better special occasion piece. But given the really high price point, the cost per wear just wouldn't be justifiable in my eyes. Second, I think about, does it fit into my aesthetic? I usually gravitate towards the understated looks and quiet luxury types, but I discovered I personally just like chunkier diamonds over pave. This is just a personal preference, but definitely something I'll think about in the future. For example, I already owned this beautiful diamond tennis bracelet, and I should just wear it more. And it definitely has bigger diamonds than, say, like the pave diamonds, and certainly with my engagement ring and anniversary wedding band. I'm okay with large, loud diamonds. It's just the pave was a little too fiery for my taste. I also learned that I prefer to wear looser, like chain bracelets, like my VCA Alhambra, and also this tennis bracelet where it's kind of loose, rather than hard bangles. I find that in my daily life, when I'm like typing on a computer, the hard bangles kind of like bang on my wrist, and I just don't gravitate towards those. Third, I like to think about, is there an occasion to this purchase? Is there any sentimental value or even a special memory when purchasing it? So while this bangle was intended for my 40th, the purchase really lacked any kind of luxury experience. I'll put a picture here, but when I picked it up, They just threw it into this paper bag. And for $15,000 anywhere else, I would expect a delightful experience with the personal connection, great service, and at least a bottle of sparkling water. Number 4, I think about, do I have experience with this brand, or am I taking on risk by purchasing this? If I find something that I like, you know me by now, I'm a serial purchaser, so I'll just keep on purchasing from items that I appreciate. But in this case, I really had no experience with Roberto coin, so I just didn't feel comfortable giving it the benefit of the doubt. The next thing I think about is things like, what is the maintenance and care like? How hardy is it? Is it indestructible? Would it survive messy kid hands? I don't really like overly fussy care instructions, so a diamond bangle would have been fine. Especially with fine jewelry, I shared that I have this like super steam cleaner in the video here. So I know that fine jewelry will actually be pretty hardy and cleanable. So in terms of this bracelet, this wasn't a concern. And lastly, I do think about reversibility of a decision and also resale value. This isn't really, top of my list, but it is something that I think about. And because this was a sentimental piece, I didn't really consider it that much. But really, you could lose half or more off of retail for this particular piece on the secondhand market. And when you're talking about thousands of dollars, it is something that you can't ignore. So as you can see, when I say that it didn't check all the boxes, there are actually boxes that I use. I also wanted to list out some of my shopping triggers, which help me understand when I might be making a poor purchasing decision, and maybe this will help you too. Trigger number 1 is that I totally got caught up in the thrill of the chase. I think when I think about my own kind of personal buying patterns, I really love shopping and evaluating all the options out there and picking and choosing. And once I get on that train, I very rarely am able to stop and think calmly about, do I even want this item, or am I just trying to pick and choose and buy the best option out there? So I never really stopped to think if I wanted this type of bangle to begin with. But paying for it and then waiting for 6 months really put a damper on the whirlwind of the purchase. Secondly, I am an absolute sucker for a discount. The 20% discount that was offered to me just sealed the deal and I was in. Third, I was totally influenced by YouTubers, and it's by no fault of their own. I'll link her channel below, but Jodia Mosley on YouTube has this bangle and it looks beautiful, and I just really loved looking at her videos of her enjoying it, caring for it. But then I realized it fits well into her collection, her aesthetic. She wears it well. And once I tried it on with my own collection and my own style, it just didn't work out. I was totally caught up into the moment. And of course, as one door closes, a window opens. So now I'm thinking, of course, about where this money could go. And this is a bit dangerous because this money is definitely burning a hole in my pocket. But I just have to be rational, cool, and think about how I would apply it now that I got this chunk of money back. Some things that I'm thinking about are potentially a Rolex, potentially a Bulgari bracelet. I've been eyeing those. I even tried on the Louis Vuitton Pochette Métis East West in cream. I'll add some footage here, but it definitely stole my heart. It's understated, it's classy, it has a lot of variable looks with all of the chains and the straps that it includes, so I'm keeping my eye on this one. And then we do have our anniversary trip coming up. We're purchasing ring upgrades for our anniversary, and no doubt I'm going to want to purchase something on the island. So I think it would be wise to keep my money for that. Well, I hope some of you found this story valuable, and maybe you can apply my buying checklist to your own purchasing decisions. Are there other things that I should consider that I didn't include in my list? I'd love to know. And I'm also curious if there are other shopping triggers that you guys have that we should all share so that we can keep an eye out and make the best decisions possible. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!